Everyone, how's it going? It's been a little while since I made a movie review, so I thought why not make a new one for this channel. And so in case you guys haven't seen or don't remember, the last movie that I did a review for was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was last year, back when it first came out and everything. And I still remember that day to this day, you know? Remember going to theaters, all that, having fun. I went there with my mom, of course. I already explained all that in that video. So for a while, I've been thinking, why not make more movie reviews for this channel? You know, and give my 2 cents about it all. And the thing is, I've been kind of hesitant to do that because, you know Hollywood these days is, they don't produce good movies these days. At least not most of the time, you know? A good movie will come out every now and then, but most of the time it's not good. Because of that, I don't go to the movie theaters as I used to years ago. But recently, I have been going to the movie theaters. I've been getting to see new movies as well. Yeah, mostly new movies. I remember a while ago they had the anniversary of the first Toy Story movie playing in the movie theaters. I went there with my grandma to see that. That was really awesome. I already seen the movie millions of times before, but I want to go see it because I wanted to feel the experience of seeing a Toy Story movie, especially like an old one in theaters. That's what I want to experience. So I went to go see it. It was pretty nice. So there's that. And then right after that, that's when I saw the movie that I'm reviewing today, Zootopia 2. That's right, guys. I went to the movie theaters to watch Zootopia 2. So allow me to explain my history with Zootopia. So I'm old enough to remember when the first Zootopia movie came out in theaters. It was back in November of 2016, and I was about 14 years old at that time. I went there with my grandmother. We went to go see it in theaters. I was curious about it and I'll be honest, at first when I heard about it, I didn't care that much for it. But then I saw the trailer and I was like, wow, this kind of looks interesting. This might be a good movie. So I convinced my grandma, hey, let's go see Zootopia in theaters. So we went there on November 2016. Went to my local theater. We went in there, we sat in the chairs, got all the popcorn, drinks, all that, and we watched the movie. I watched the Zootopia movie with my grandmother, and I was watching. I was like, whoa, this is actually really well thought out. This is interesting. The world of Zootopia has so much lore, so much characteristics for many different people. There's so much to it, and so many of the characters are just really interesting. I liked it back then, and I still do. So at that day, we saw the entire Zootopia movie, and after the movie, I just straight fell in love with Zootopia. I fell in love with it. I was really into it, you know? I really loved it so much. I loved it so much. It got to the point where I got a Zootopia movie poster to hang on my wall. I think I still have a picture of that. I'll have to show it to you guys one day. So I had that, and of course I was a kid back then, so I could be a little autistic about some things, you know? So I immediately started looking up a whole bunch of stuff about Zootopia. Like I would search up like fan art and all. We don't, you know how the internet is. They draw fan art of all these different franchises all the time. So I just wanted to see all that stuff. Like most of the at least a huge portion of the Zootopia fandom, we all agreed that we all thought that Nick and Judy would have been a great couple. The relationship just worked like that. The way they interacted with each other, the way they were similar and yet different in some ways. We all liked it back then, at least when we were kids. I was really into that specific pairing, and so I of course, like I was saying, back then I was just straight up in love with Zootopia. I loved it so much, and of course that was a long time ago. I still like Zootopia, but not as much as I did back then. I still like it, just not as much as before. And so there's that. So it's pretty obvious that I was a fan of Zootopia. I still am, you know. Nowadays I remember back then how much I was in love with Zootopia, the first movie. So, and just like so many people in the fandom back then, we were all wondering, hey, when are they going to come out with a sequel, huh? We want a sequel. We demand a sequel. So for many years we were all wondering when they were going to release a sequel. Meanwhile I'm just going my day because I was slowly becoming less in love with the film. And then recently, they finally announced the trailer for the Zootopia 2 sequel. And I was like, and when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, it's finally happening. They finally came out with a sequel. It's amazing. So I remember watching that trailer when I was finally able to, and I was like, huh, this is interesting. They're going to a little different approach this time, obviously, because of everything that happened in the previous film. And so, yeah, so it was really cool to see that. And of course, we saw things that were similar and yet things that are different in that trailer. It was pretty interesting. And of course, this was not too long before it finally came into theaters back in November of this year. You know, me being an old veteran of a fan of Zootopia, I had to go see the sequel in theaters, and so I did. And of course, I convinced my grandmother to come with me. I posted it on my Instagram account. Me and my grandmother went to our local theater to go watch Zootopia 2 in theaters, and it was during the daytime, and we got some good photos of the posters and all that. And then after we got our popcorn and drinks and all that, we went inside and we went into the auditorium with our popcorn and drinks and all that. We got in our seats and then we get to watch the film. So yeah, that's what this video is about. This is my review of Zootopia 2. So I'm gonna have it done like this. I'm gonna start off with a non-spoiler version first, and then after that it's gonna be spoilers. You know, just so that way I can help out. I can entertain both people who don't want to be spoiled, but at the same time want to be spoiled. So just so you know, once I get to the spoiler section, if you get spoiled, don't get mad at me, get mad at yourself. I've said this before. Yeah, so that's how it's gonna be. And so you guys know, I've only seen Zootopia 2 once, and that was when it first came out in theaters. So don't expect me to remember everything, okay? I'm gonna remember the best I can, but don't expect me to remember everything. So let's start with let me explain my feelings for Zootopia 2 in a non-spoiler fashion. So if I had to describe Zootopia 2 in one sentence, I would say it's a sigh of relief, like a sigh of fresh air. And I say that because this movie is a whole lot better compared to all the other slop that Disney produces nowadays. Seriously, because nowadays they're producing a whole bunch of new princess movies that are just not as good as the old ones. Every now and then they come up with a mediocre movie that just doesn't click with people. And sometimes they release some really, really bad films. Yeah, recently, I mean, it's not surprising. It's Disney we're talking about. So when I went to go see Zootopia 2 in theaters back in November, I watched the whole movie and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. I actually didn't think it would be this good. I'm surprised. And I've said this before on my Instagram account. This movie is so good. It's exceptional. Why can't more Disney movies be like this one? Why does this have to be the exception? Why can't this be the normal standard, you know? And I'm saying this because the way how the story of Zootopia 2 went out, it was so good. We got introduced to obviously both old characters and new characters. Of course, we all know Judy Hopps. She's always been the main character for the whole thing. She became a cop in the first film, and in this film, she's obviously resuming her career and all that. And then you got her best friend Nick Wilde. Nick Wilde, he was in the first film. He was just like a popsicle hustler. You know, he was just selling food for money and all that. And then he gets caught up with Judy Hopps, and they both agreed to help each other out to solve the case in the previous film. And so it was Judy who convinced Nick to become a cop. Next thing you know, he becomes a cop, and he's Judy's partner. And in this movie, they're pretty much police partners working together to solve crime and all that. And of course, we got the solid return of Chief Bogo. He's the police chief of the Zootopia police force. He's returned as well, same as ever. We also got Benjamin Clawhauser. He's that fat cheetah guy who get really, he's pretty much a wimp kind of. Yeah, he's still a lovable guy, you know. So he returns every now and then in this film. We also got the return of Judy's parents, but they barely make an appearance in this film. Very much. It's okay. It's whatever, you know. And oh yeah, we also saw Mr. Big. Remember Mr. Big? He's that he's this little rat guy. He's a little rat, and he's got his own daughter and all that. But he's actually the head boss of some type of mafia family. That's what it is. He's like a wealthy head of a mafia family over there. He's got a whole bunch of wealth. He's got all these polar bears as bodyguards and all that, and they engage in their own type of business and all that. Remember in the first film, when he wants to execute someone, he would say "ice him," and the polar bear would lift up the thing off the ground, and there's like a whole bunch of cold ice in there, and when you dip an animal in there, they just freeze on the spot. That's how he executes people who do a badmouth him and all that. And that makes sense when it comes to a mafia guy. You know, you don't talk like that to a made man. You don't just assault the guy left and right. You know, you do something like that, you're done. You're gonna get hurt right then and there. So yeah, that's Mr. Big. He's the mafia boss. And surprisingly, you know, not really surprising, but at the same time surprising, that Judy, Nick, and Mr. Big, they form a little alliance because one of his drivers was a victim of the main villain's plot back then. So they form an alliance, and Mr. Big helps Judy again in order to find more information, because Judy is the godmother of his daughter. who's also pregnant, and eventually we also see the granddaughter in Zootopia 2. So we got to see the return of Mr. Big and his family and all that. And of course, Gazelle, who's played by Shakira. She's the famous Gazelle singer, pop singer, and all that. Everybody in Zootopia knows her. Everybody goes there to listen to her music, all that. People love her, you know. And like I said, she's voiced by Shakira. You know, she's a famous singer here in America. And that's all I can remember as of right now. I don't remember if Gideon Grey returned. He might have. I just don't remember. Oh, we also saw that Finnick Fox. Finnick Fox. He was the associate of Nick before he became a cop. They would work together to make popsicles and all that. And of course, Flash 100-yard dash. He's that sloth guy from the DMV. He makes a return in this film. And it's pretty cool. Me and my grandmother loved him in the first film. So we saw him in the second one. We were just like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so we saw a whole bunch of old characters return. A whole bunch of them. It was pretty cool. And of course, we get introduced to new characters. Like, for example, we get introduced to one of the main characters in the film, which is a reptile. We did not see reptiles in the first film, and neither were they mentioned. So when we saw they appeared in this film, we were surprised. So the main reptile character in this film is a snake named Gary. Gary the Snake. He's a bit a little angsty, you know. He can get a little too excited. And then there's also this another character, new character. It's a female beaver. I believe her name is Nibbles or something like that. And the way how they portray her, she's like some type of conspiracy theorist type of lady. And she dives deep into secrets that most people don't want to know about or just don't even care about. That's a little interesting. And then we have a new mayor in Zootopia 2. His name is Brian or something like that. He's a horse. He's voiced by Patrick Warburton. I think that's his name. He's voiced by the guy who plays Joe Swanson. That's his name. He voices Joe Swanson from Family Guy. That guy who voices him also voices the horse mayor in Zootopia 2. Same guy. So that's pretty interesting. We also get introduced to very interesting characters. There's a whole family of lynxes in this film. They're called the lynxies? The lynxies? Something like that. I cannot remember. I gotta pull it up. Just give me a minute.
A few moments later.
Lynxley, yeah, so Lynxley, I said it right. So they're also somewhat main characters as well. They're pretty much our main characters. We get a whole bunch of old characters returning, and also we get a whole bunch of new characters as well. It's got a huge cast, a very huge cast. So when you see all these characters appear in the film, you're like, wow, they put a lot of attention to this. This is really cool. You get so many characters, each one has their own unique personality, unique character traits, all that. It's really cool. I like seeing that in a film. I like seeing variety in a sort of way. Yeah, so it's the Zootopia world, you know, and it's a huge world. There's so many different biomes, so many different areas to explore. There's so much lore to it. Each area in the Zootopia world, they all tell its own story. There's so much detail in them too. It's really interesting to see all that portrayed in this film. And of course I always look forward to learning new stuff in that. And of course the music was good. Yeah, it was good. You know, I don't remember all of it, but I do remember some. And you know, I never had a problem with it. It was pretty nice. And of course, this movie, what Zootopia is known for is for making references to real life. You know, when you watch the first Zootopia film, when Judy is making her way to Zootopia, she's scrolling through her phone to play music, and when you look into the phone, you realize it's a whole list of people's names. They're all based on real singers' names, but they're all mixed up to like have animal references in there. Animal references. You know, it's pretty interesting. And so they do a whole bunch of references to real life in their films. So when you watch the Zootopia film, they reference the whole "What Does the Fox Say" song. Remember that song from years ago? You know, people back then used to love playing the hell out of that. People were making memes and all that. So they had that reference in this film. That's interesting. So the question some people were probably asking me is, would I recommend this film? And I'll say yes. Yes, I would recommend this film for you or your family or whatever. I recommend it. It's a family-friendly movie, and it's actually has an interesting story. I would recommend it because, like I said, you got The world of Zootopia is so interesting. There's so much detail put into it, and every single character is interesting in their own way. Different traits, personalities, goals, interests, all that stuff. And each one of them manages to stand out from the rest, or at least most of them at least. And as the film goes on, you just continue to get hooked on, and you're up. And when you see it the first time, you're wondering how it's going to end, you know what's going to happen to this guy or that guy, it's pretty interesting. So just, yeah, I would recommend this film, and I'm pretty sure, young people, kids, they would love it, funny stuff, it's also animated pretty well too. It looks pretty good for today's standard. Yeah. Of course, back then when we watched the first Zootopia, it looked pretty good, But yeah, this Zootopia 2 is pretty good in terms of animation, in terms of most things, really. Yeah. So just, it's really awesome. This movie does like I said, this movie does really feel like a fresh of breath air, because I really wish more animated films, like in terms of Disney or DreamWorks and all that, were just like this good. So yes, I would recommend this film. It is a family-friendly animated movie that could have possibly passed as an old movie, like from like the 2010s or the 2000s. That's how it felt like. It didn't really feel like a movie that would come out nowadays. It felt like a movie that could have came out back then, And that's actually a good thing, because we all miss the old days of films, Because back then, most films used to be so good. There was always a new film to look forward to, but nowadays, not so much. So yeah, this movie does stand out from many other movies that come out nowadays. So because of that, I would recommend it. I would recommend it for you, your family, all that. However you want to watch it, it's okay. You want to buy it on a Blu-ray or DVD, that's cool. You want to watch a streaming service, whatever. But y'all know me, I'm an old school collector, guys, so I have to have it on a DVD or Blu-ray. I don't want all my films to be on subscriptions or digital streaming services or anything like that. I gotta have it on a disc, a physical format. Yeah, so this is a good film. It's really, I've already said it before. It really stands out from all the rest, and it should have been the standard since the very beginning. It's a really good film. All right, so that's how I would describe it in the sense of a non-spoiler version. I guess I should start with the spoilers now. So let's talk about what happens in the film specifically. So we start off with Nick and Judy. They're going on a little mission together. It's revealed that we finally get to see where Nick Wilde lives at. He lives in a type of laundromat place that's kind of been converted into a home and all that. He lives there all by himself. So Judy meets up and she's like, hey, you want to work together on a little stuffing? And she's like, oh, I didn't know you live here. Takes a picture and all that. So Nick agrees to go on a little mission with Judy. They finally go on to it. And one thing you gotta know is that Chief Bogo, he's putting their relationship to the test. They want them to be able to cooperate better more. So they're going for like some type of partner therapy or some sort. It was like a short thing for a while, but eventually they move on. So Nick and Judy go on their first first missions after a while. But of course, this movie takes immediately after the first film, so not too far, So the mission is to go into a Harbor Freight dockyard. It's the little docks where you got the huge metal containers that contain a whole bunch of cargo and all that. Their job is to go in there and find out about illegal goods that are being transported there through that dockyard. And of course, they're not exactly welcome there, so they have to come up with a disguise. So what Nick and Judy do, they disguise themselves as a couple. Kind of surprising, because when that first image leaked back then, we were all assuming they already were a couple, but no, they actually weren't a couple. It was all just part of a disguise, undercover. Nick, he played the role of husband. Judy, she played the role of wife, and they had Philip Fox pretend to be their child or adopted child, or whatever. I don't know how they did that. So they disguised themselves as a family, going into the dockyard. They get confronted by the guy. They say, "Hey, you guys are not welcome here." And then next thing you know, they start telling them what they want them to think they are. And then the guy's like, "Whoa, hold on a minute. A fox and a bunny together as a couple? That's a kind of we didn't think of that happening, Because in this whole thing with the Zootopia culture, there's always been a big rivalry between the predators and the preys. And that's because throughout animal history, predators have always been known to hunt after prey, kill them, eat them, all that stuff. Because of that, there was always a bit of rivalry between them. They always had hate for each other. So eventually, that was all mostly solved in the first film. And of course, that whole theme gets re-explored into this film. So again, people would not really expect a fox and a bunny to be a couple, let alone just act like it. So but Nick and Judy managed to convince the guy that we just want to look around the place, see how it's like. So he buys into it. He goes away and they go explore. So they start exploring. They start looking for the container crate that contains the info that they need. Next thing you know, the whole thing blows up, and by that I mean they lose their cover. They get caught. Next thing you know, they're having a whole chase scene. Nick and Judy both get in their little car, and the guy they're chasing after, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy they met at first. He goes inside the little truck that contains the container crate of the information that he needs. So we got a whole chase scene. Nick and Judy are chasing that guy throughout the city, and then eventually it stops. They manage to make the guy crash right next to a river of some sort, right next to a bridge. So they open a container crate. They didn't really find anything except Judy at the last second. She saw Gary sliver out of the container crate. She's like, "What the heck? What was that?" Next thing you know, the police show up. The mayor, horse guy, Brian, he has to make a whole speech and all that. So because of that whole mission, because of how reckless that is, Bogo basically tells Nick and Judy, "Hey, that was not cool at all. The way you guys handled that mission was not good. So I'm gonna ask you guys to just take a break for a while, But Nick and Judy, they don't want to give up. And Judy, she saw Gary move out of the crate, so she wanted to continue with the mission. So they both do a little investigating together. Next thing you know, they finally come up with what to do. Apparently, information about the whole snake thing is inside the mansion of the Linksley's family, all that. So Judy once again convinces Nick to help her out in the mission. So it's kind of like a heist, like a police heist type of situation. So the Linksleys, they're having a whole type of ball in their mansion, all that. All these rich and famous people are coming there to have fun and all that. A whole bunch of famous celebrities too. Everyone's decked out in suits and dresses and all that. It's luxury. And of course, Mr. Big was there, but I don't know why he was there. I think it's because both Mr. Biggs and the Linksleys are both into corruption and crime and all that. That could be why. So Nick and Judy showed up. They disguise themselves as rich people. They do that in order to make people not realize it's them. Nick is wearing a suit, bow tie and all that. Judy's wearing like a yellow dress with her hair perked up. So they both go in there. They go into to scope out the place, find out what everything looks like. Of course, every now and then they speak to someone. They have a little special interaction, and eventually that's when they begin the mission. They begin the mission to find out what's going on. So at the end of this specific mission, I think they go to the head of the Linksley's family. I think his name is Milton. They go into his office. In there, just the information. They go in there, next thing you know, Gary the Snake is there. He's got this book thing that contains information about his past, and we'll get to that later. So they confront him there, and but eventually Nick, while he's playing his part, he gets caught by Bogo. He's like, "You're done. You're going back to the department." But Nick, he resists, and he helps Judy win the mission. Hey everyone. This is Laird from the future. Yeah, so I'm recording this because my camera cut off as I was explaining my whole spoiler review of Zootopia 2. Yeah, it always cuts off at the 30-minute mark. It always does that. And somehow I didn't find that out until I had to turn it on the recording again. So I'm gonna fill in the blank in my original review. So like the first clip was saying, Bogo follows Nick into the office building of the Linksley's mansion and all that. Nick and Judy are in there. You got Gary the Snake in there. He's got the book that's important to his family and all that. They try to apprehend them on the spot, and then of course Bogo walks in. He sees them all, and he's like, nope. He's trying to apprehend them. He tries to take the snake with Gary. Gary freaks out. He tries to free himself, and he ends up biting Bogo on his head, on top of his head. And just like that, he just goes unconscious and falls on the floor, unconscious. And of course, Nick and Judy, they're surprised about that, so they try to get. But the thing is, Gary has his tooth stuck in Bogo's head. So Nick and Judy have to work together to get Gary off of Bogo. They yank him off, but his tooth snaps off his mouth. The tooth's still stuck in Bogo's head. So Judy sees it. She walks up to Bogo, grabs the tooth, yanks it out of his head. Next thing you know, all the other officers show up. They walk in and they see the whole scene, and it's really bad for them. They see Bogo on the ground, unconscious. They think part of them thinks they're dead. They see Judy standing there with a snake tooth in her hand, looking like she's gonna stab Bogo and all that. Of course, Nick is standing right next to her, and you got Gary just sitting there as well. So that just came as a big surprise to all the officers who walked in right there, and they all come to a conclusion. So not only do Nick and Judy get framed for homicide, they basically become fugitives right there. So they're not wanted by the law at this point. So Gary runs away, and Nick and Judy both run away. They jump through the window, and the cops try to chase them down, and they manage to escape the cops. So Nick and Judy at this point have become fugitives. They're wanted by the law, all because of that incident. So while Nick and Judy are hiding from the law, Bogo gets sent to the hospital to get treated for the venom inside his body. And of course, Nick and Judy are trying to find out where Gary is. So Nick and Judy decide to enlist the help of Nibbles, the female beaver that I mentioned before. They find her and they said, hey Nibbles, so we noticed that you like to talk a lot about these people that most people don't want to talk about. So you think you can help us out? We'll help. We would really appreciate it. And Nibbles is like, yeah, sure. I'll be more happy to help. I'm always happy to help society and all that. So Nibbles, the female beaver, she takes Judy and Nick to this like forest swamp area. It's basically a swamp. It's got a whole bunch of different people living there. Of course, it's both mammals and reptiles. You got a whole bunch of people. It's pretty interesting, you know. Some are like selling fish or ornaments. You know, people are just having fun and all that. So the reason why Nibbles takes them there is because she's taking them to this little riverboat right in the swamp water. They finally get in there, and then next thing you know, they're on the riverboat. Finally get in there. Yeah. So that's the blank that I needed to fill in. I had to record this in the future in order to give out the whole reveal. That's what was missing between the first clip and the other clip. And so just Nick and Judy become fugitives. They listen to help with Nibbles, and Nibbles takes them to a riverboat in search of Gary, of course. All right. I'm glad I was able to finally fix that. So past Laird, you can take it away now. The whole boat there, it serves as a huge nightclub, bar-like type of establishment for all types of reptiles. It's got Komodo dragons, chameleons, all those type of reptiles. They're all enjoying their life over there. You got people sipping drinks. You got a whole band playing on the stage, playing music and all that. So Nibbles introduces both Judy and Nick to a reptile who goes by the name Jesus, and he's played by Danny Trejo. And I'll be honest, guys, I did not think that would happen. I did not think that Danny Trejo would play a role in Zootopia. That caught me off guard. So they meet up with Jesus. I believe that Jesus, he explains how reptiles were framed for something they didn't do. That's why people look down on them and all that. So they had a whole conversation about that. So next thing you know, Nick and Judy both see a Gary the snake, and I don't remember if the police bartended that place or not. But eventually, Judy and Nick, they found Gary. They started a whole chase scene with him. They're like trying to meet up with him, and of course, while Judy and Nick are chasing Gary, Judy and Nick are being chased by the police. So we got a whole chase scene right there. It's a huge big one. So Judy and Nick, they continue to go after Gary. They go for this whole little tube thing that allows people to go into different areas in the world. And of course, the thing is full of water, so eventually you can't stand there too long or you're just gonna drown. So Nick had to pull a whole lever thing in order to get Judy and both him and Judy out of the tubes, otherwise they would have drowned eventually. And of course that resulted in them losing Gary. So they get out of the tubes, and then they realize they're in this like a little countryside area, and right next to them is this mountain that has this abandoned house at the very top. So they both decide to climb up there because they believe that it could there could be something up there that serves a good use. Next thing you know, they have an argument because the way the whole things are going, it's not going so well for them. So eventually they kind of stop speaking to each other as different from they used to. They both go inside the little abandoned house. They gain more information about all the reptiles in the world and all that. Next thing you know, the police show up, and also the house starts falling apart. So we had the whole thing with the police. I believe that it was Judy. She got hit with a little tranquilizer dart of some sort. It like made her fall asleep. And while that happened to Judy, Nick, he gets apprehended by the police. He gets taken down. So while Nick is being taken away by the police, I believe it was Gary who showed up and decided to help Judy before she fell off or anything. So Nick, he gets put in cuffs. He put into a police SWAT van, put in there, and of course Milton shows up. give him a good old villain speech and all that, pretend to be innocent and all that, because he made everyone believe that Judy and Nick were trying to cause trouble in this mansion. Nick gets sent to a prison, or city prison, and Judy eventually forms a friendship with Gary. And so Gary takes Judy to a place to help her get better and all that. And next thing you know, they meet up with Paulbert. Yeah, Paulbert. So Paulbert also agrees to help Judy with the mission that she wants to do. So those two form a little friendship right there. And then you got of course, going back to Nick. He's in city prison. Serving time in there. He actually sees some people that he met before. It's pretty interesting. And what do you know? Nibbles is there as well. She's behind bars as well. So they both decide to make a little prison breakout. I believe it was Nibbles who managed to chew her way through the jail cell or whatever. She helps Nick get out. Next thing you know, the whole place goes on alert. They're both trying to escape. And as they're trying to escape, Nick is walking through this one alleyway. Right on his left side is a little glass wall that shows someone's prison cell. It lights up. Next thing you know, we see the return of Bellwether. Yes, Bellwether returns in Zootopia 2. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa. I did not think she would, in a way, return. Yeah, so that was surprising. I was like, whoa, oh my gosh, she's back. This lady's back, my god. And she's got a whole scene dedicated to her talking with Nick, too. So in case you don't remember, Bellwether is the twist villain of the first film, because you had the whole thing of predators going back to being savage and all that, but it was actually revealed that Bellwether was the whole brains behind the whole operation. She would hire all these sheep guys to hit all these predators with these night howler darts, and when they get hit with that liquid, it makes them go rabid and savage and all that, and make them start hurting people. So she's responsible for all that, and of course, so those 12 mammals that went missing. So that's what she was serving in prison for. So Nick, in Zootopia 2, Nick and Bellwether are having a whole conversation with each other. It's pretty interesting. It was really menacing as well. Eventually, they stop talking, and Nick eventually resumes escaping prison with Nibbles. They both get out of prison, but next thing you know, literally every single other prisoner escapes as well. And that includes Bellwether. So Bellwether is back on the streets doing her nefarious schemes and all that. I was like, oh my god. She's going to be like a returning villain of some sort. So later on, Nick and Nibbles, they meet up with Judy again, along with Gary and Paulbert. Yeah, so I believe they all I think I remember they all work together to continue with the whole plot of saving the world, saving the city and all that. So they're all going to this like little sand area, because there's like these border walls that have to do with the machines that are all connected to Gary's ancestors, and we'll get to that later. So of course they're being chased by the police again, so they're running through the whole desert. Next thing you know, we run to Gazelle. She's there, and Judy, she was like, whoa, I didn't have to hear here, because if you remember, Judy was like a huge fan of Gazelle in the first film. And in this one, she finally gets to see her in person. So instead of selling them out to the police, Gazelle says, I know you guys are innocent. Go do whatever you need to do. I'll hold them off. So Judy and her whole crew go to continue the mission, and this Gazelle, she helps them buy time. She makes the police stop and have a whole conversation with them and everything. So Judy and her friends, they continue the whole mission, get into the whole border wall thing, discovering. I believe they had to discover the machine that would help reveal the origin of the original people that invented the machine. Because eventually it's revealed that the real inventor, the real founder of Zootopia and all the machines that are used there is actually Gary's great grandmother a long time ago. She helped invent all that stuff. But Milton's ancestor at that time, Everson or something like that, he was jealous because I believe it was actually revealed that Gary's great grandmother, she was actually a personal butler of Everson, Milton's ancestor. So he didn't like how she was getting more success than him. So he decides to Everson decides to frame the old lady snake of being an evil person, just like they try to frame all reptiles. And not only does he do that, but he also takes her invention and claims it to be his. And that's how his family becomes so more successful and rich to this day, because he literally stole her idea. So because of that, the whole story that was being told was that reptiles are evil, the lynx cities, they're good, all that stuff. And that went on for many years. So Judy wants to prove that Gary and his family are innocent, just like all reptiles. They work together, and as they're continuing the mission, next thing you know, it's revealed that Paulbert is actually a villain. But he's his own villain. He doesn't want to be working along with his family. He wants to make a name of himself as his own villain. He hits Judy with some type of dart thing that makes her go limp and all that, along with Gary as well. And since Gary's a reptile, you know, at the very end, there's like a lot of snow and all that, so you know he could barely move. The next thing you know, he gets right next to Judy as Palmer just goes away. He helps her warm up, and then next thing you know, they're back on their feet and all that, and Nick and Nibbles help out and all that. So we have Nick, Judy, and Gary all helping each other to continue the mission. I don't remember what happened to Nibbles though. Eventually they get confronted by Palmer. We have a whole fight scene between them. It was pretty interesting, you know, pretty nice. And then we finally get to the part where they finally get to the area that they need to go. It's the area that where Gary's ancestors were from in the first place. The little small town that nobody talks about anymore. They go in there. It's like a really majestic place. You know, of course nobody's there because the place was just totally abandoned. They explore through the whole town and they go into Gary's great-grandmother's house, her original house. They go in there and they learn so much about Gary's family's lore and all that. It's pretty interesting. So they go in there, they're all so amazed and all that. Halbert shows up again, being crazy as usual, but then he gets taken down. I think it was the police who took him down. They like followed Halbert as he was following Judy and her friends. So Halbert gets taken down, and so that was almost like pretty much the end of the film. You know, Halbert finally gets taken down, and of course, the Linksley's third time family, they all get sent to a prison, all that for the framing of all the reptiles and all that, and of course corruption in general. They get sent to prison. I'm pretty sure they're going to be there for a while. So it's another mission success. You know, Judy, Nick, and all their friends, they saved the day. And of course, reptiles, they're no longer seen as evil. People realize, hey, we were wrong about reptiles, just like we were wrong about predators. You know, turns out we're all actually really good people. Just you can't really judge people by appearances, and you gotta think about rumors that we spread, you know? So Gary, I believe he decides to help out with the whole invention that his great-grandmother made, and of course everyone's continuing to do their own thing. Brian's still the mayor and all that. Chief Bogo, he's still alive, but he's just recovering in the hospital, you know? Of course, he got bit and all that. Of course, there's actually just one scene, I forgot to mention, there's a scene where Judy and Nick finally make up with each other after having that argument earlier. And what they revealed was actually kind of interesting. The real reason why Judy and Nick are working together as cops, they're not actually doing it just save the day. They're not trying to actually help people. The real reason why they're doing it, is just so they can spend time with each other. That's what it is. They just wanted to have a reason to hang out with each other and all that. That's what it was all about. And I thought that was kind of interesting, you know? A little interesting exchange of words and all that. So they finally, their relationship just strengthens even more, you know, especially at the end of the film, you know. Like I said, everyone is finally back to happy. People at Zootopia are happy. All the reptiles are happy. The Linksons are in jail and all that. And so, yeah, and of course we had the whole scene where Bellwether would disguise herself as someone else, and Nick and Judy are both working to take her down. And then we had it's the same thing as before with the first film. We had a whole live performance from Gazelle playing a song, but instead of Try Everything, this time it's a Zoo, which is one of Shakira's newest songs. We had a whole performance there, and just like with the first film, they showed the whole credits of the voice actors and all that. All the characters are dancing together and all that. It's pretty cool. And then they came to credits. You know, I had to watch for the credits all the time because I like learning about all this stuff. And the end credit scene was very, very shocking. It ends with the movie ends with Judy in her apartment of some sort. She's talking on the phone with somebody, and I don't remember what the words are exactly, but right after she left the building, we saw something really interesting. We saw a feather float from the sky and land on the little edge of the window thing. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, there are avians in Zootopia. Birds. There are birds in Zootopia. First we had the whole reveal of reptiles, now we're getting birds. So yeah, so they're most likely going to make a Zootopia 3. And that's how the film ends. It ends with that big reveal right there. And so, yeah, that's basically what it went down with Zootopia 2. So, it's pretty obvious. I love this film because, you know, I've been a fan of Zootopia ever since it first came out. I love pretty much everything about it. So I had to go see Zootopia 2. I had to go see it. I had to see how everything would be portrayed in this sequel in the franchise, and it was actually pretty good. I was not disappointed at all. I liked it. I liked it so much. Just maybe not as much as the first film, but it was still pretty good. Pretty good stuff, watchable stuff, and it's really awesome. And I look forward to getting that on Blu-ray and DVD. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this film to you guys. And it's filled of good moments, heartfelt moments. Of course, some sad moments here and there. It makes you feel a whole bunch of different emotions. It makes you think as well. And I like that about films, you know, it's really good. Yeah, so, and here's the thing you guys need to know. So it's actually, you guys really need to understand this. There's actually nothing wrong with being a Zootopia fan. What you need to understand is not everyone in the fandom is the exact same person. You need to understand that. Just like how everyone in the Rise of the Guardians fandom is not the same, and Kung Fu Panda and all these other films. Not everyone in the fandom is the exact same person. So you understand, the reason why Zootopia has a somewhat, a mostly bad reputation is because there's these people in the fandom who do such stupid stuff. Of course, since it's an animated movie where everyone is an animal on it, of course it's going to attract a huge furry audience. I mean, it's not really a bad thing. It's just just like with many other groups in real life, there are people in the furry community who do really bad stuff. So there's that. And so, people are on the internet. They make a whole bunch of different fan comics, fan animations, all that stuff. You got all that stuff. And one thing that Zootopia that's known for nowadays is this fan comic. And I speak for a lot of people when I say this. This fan comic is one of the most biggest abominations that mankind has ever created. It is the straight up insult to both Zootopia as a franchise and, of course, just the whole relationship between men and women in general. It's called the abortion comic. That's what everyone calls it. We don't know most people don't remember its real name, but everyone calls it the abortion comic. So I can summarize it like this. So Nick and Judy, they're a couple in there apparently, but then eventually they break up. But Judy is pregnant with Nick's kid. They had a whole thing where so basically Judy wants to abort the child. I don't know why, or why the hell she want to do that. So Nick, being a sane person, he freaks out like, no, don't abort the damn child. And the whole that, but Judy wants to continue with it, and next thing you know, even more insulting, Judy is cheating on Nick, and she is cheating on him with a female fox. That is straight up insulting, even to men in real life. So you have the whole stupid plot line in that abortion comic. It eventually ends with Nick leaving, and of course the whole couple with Judy and all and that fox. That's one of the main reasons why people hate Zootopia so much. All because of this one fucking retard who made this stupid comment on the internet. People start associating that with Zootopia as a whole. And that's really unfortunate. It's sad how this single fan comment has just taken over the image of a franchise. It's awful. Not completely, but it's really awful. And so it's a shame how a lot of this turned out. It's stuff like the abortion comment that makes certain films look bad. It's really bad. And so people need to understand stuff. Do not let these things ruin something for you, okay? Because remember, the abortion comment is just a stupid fan comment made by some stupid weirdo on the internet. Do not let that ruin Zootopia for you. Because remember, it's just a fan comment. It's not canon, and it never will be canon, as far as I know. And as far as I know, nobody in the development team has ever endorsed it or anything. It's just a stupid fan comment. It has nothing to do with the original film. It's just some weirdo having a weird fantasy. So don't pay attention to that stuff. And don't pay attention to any of the other weird stuff that happens in the fandom as well. It's like similar to celebrity worship. You get the thing with celebrities, there's so many people on this earth who are so obsessed with celebrities. They worship the ground they walk on. They always scream and shout at them anytime they see them in real life. And there are people who are literally saw off their own limbs just to get spat on by their favorite celebrity. That's how it is. It's straight up evil. So what we're seeing with Zootopia is no different. It's celebrity worship, but with a movie. Because so many people worship this film, people will do bad things with it. And in this case, they will make these fan projects that just all it really does is just create a bad image. But because of that doesn't mean you shouldn't like the film. Okay, so you guys understand that. Don't let these stupid small things ruin this for you. Okay? If you like Zootopia 2 or just Zootopia in general, that's awesome, okay? It's a good film. It's a family-friendly adventure. Full of great characters, great music, great plot line, all that. Do not let the weirdos in the fandom ruin it for you. If you like Zootopia, go ahead. It's a good thing. Good for you. You can watch it whenever you want, however you want. Physical format, streaming service, don't care. There's nothing wrong with liking Zootopia 2. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So that's pretty much it. So that's my review for Zootopia 2. It's an animated movie that should pretty much become the norm in terms of how it's written, And again, things with the internet, the people on the internet are. They can be crazy in both the meaning and the very same time. But despite all that, I still went to go see the movie because I pretty much knew the truth about it. I was such a big fan of it back then. I did a whole bunch of research on it, deleted scenes, deleted scripts, all that stuff. I watched how it developed over time. So that's why I watched the film, because it's an original story with original characters, and it tends to work so well. for the most part at least. That's what really drew me in. I liked the whole plot, the whole lore of the Zootopia world. And I especially loved the whole dynamic relationship between Nick and Judy. That's why I really liked. And of course, all the adventures they had together. It's all really awesome. It's a fun adventure, a fun family-friendly adventure that really gets you hooked into it. As long as you don't think about all the bad stuff that happens, you can still enjoy this film, and people need to understand that. So yeah, I would recommend this film to you guys. It's a really awesome film, and I really hope to. I'm pretty sure the movie is successful. It's actually, I think it was told it's the #1 grossing movie in the box office right now for this year. It's making a whole bunch of money. #1 this year. So yeah, I'm pretty confident it's going to have a sequel. And if they do the same thing with the third movie that they do with the second movie, it should be good. And I do look forward to seeing avians in the third film. That is, of course, we do get to see them in there. That'll be really awesome to see. So yeah, so despite all this stuff that's happened, I still love Zootopia. Okay, and you guys can understand, there's nothing wrong with loving Disney films, Disney animated films. Okay, because all these people, there's nothing wrong with liking animated films, especially like the old days, People love the old Disney animated films. Snow White, The Princess and the Frog, Fox and the Hound, a whole bunch of these movies. People love these movies, and it's because these stories are original. They have such great characters, great animations, great music. That's what really drew into Disney in the first place. These films are filled with so much action, adventure, and just magic in general. That's what people like it for. But of course, recently, Disney has sure forgotten about that. But at the same time, we get exceptions like Zootopia 2. And that's what Zootopia reminds me of. It reminds me of a standard Disney film, or at least what should have been a standard Disney film. There's nothing wrong with a person liking Zootopia 2 in general, whether they're adult or young or anything really. It's a good movie, okay? Nothing wrong with liking it at all. So yeah, this is a good movie, really good. So yeah, so that's how I feel about Zootopia 2, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I feel about Zootopia 2, and thank you all for tuning in. Let me know if you guys like Zootopia 2. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Maybe in between, and let me know if there's anything specific that you find interesting about the movie. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.